Ready, Jean?
Yes.
All right.
Mhm.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
flag
of the
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could remain standing and remember our men and women in the armed forces all around the world, if we could remember Mrs. Barbara Carter, who was Pastor Carter's wife, and another person that I normally don't name out of the community folks, but he was so good to the village of Highland Falls. He was the manager of the Thayer Hotel, Don Zagaria, who actually died of the virus. Thank you.
When did Mrs. Carter pass away?
Like a week ago? Yeah. And he didn't pass away all that long ago.
No, I don't think it's a year yet.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Nice people. Okay. First on the agenda is to approve minutes that were taken at our regular meeting, June the 15th, 2020, and then we had a special meeting on June 25th of 2020.
Motion?
Motion by trustee Howard to approve minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have an appointment, a recommendation from trustee Howard. We did the interviews along with wastewater treatment plant superintendent John Jones for a wastewater treatment plant maintenance worker. This would become effective July the 9th, 2020, at a starting salary of $16.64 an hour per the DPWEA contract.
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Gina, is this appropriate time to ask if we can do an ad to hire 2 more DPW workers?
That'd be up to the mayor to.
Well, I would have done that at the end, but it's fine. If you want to make a motion to advertise for 2,
2 positions in the DPW. Can I make a motion?
so that would be labor or maintenance?
Laborers with.
Labor.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee DeSalvo, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next, we have a bond resolution for the improvements to village streets.
Motion?
I gotta, hold on, buddy.
Okay.
Did you have supper tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need a motion on the following. A bond resolution of the Village of Highland Falls, New York, adopted, if we adopted, July 6, 2020, authorizing the construction of improvements to village streets, stating the estimated maximum cost thereof is $400,000, appropriating said amount for such purpose, and authorizing the issuance of bonds of the village in the principal amount of $400,000 to finance said appropriations. First, authorizing said village to construct improvements to village streets, including related curbing and sidewalk improvements and associated work, starting the estimated maximum cost thereof, including preliminary costs and cost incidentals thereto, and financing thereof is $400,000. Appropriating said amount for such purpose, stating the plan of financing includes the issuance of bonds of the village in the principal amount of $400,000 to finance said appropriations, and levy of a tax upon all the taxable real property within the village to pay principal of said bonds and interest thereon. Second, authorizing the issuance of bonds in the village in the principal amount of $400,000 pursuant to the local finance law of the state of New York to finance said appropriations. Third, determining and stating the period of probable usefulness applicable to the purpose for which said bonds are authorized to be issued is 15 years, and proceeds of said bonds and any other anticipation notes issued in anticipation thereof may be applied to reimburse the village for expenditures made after the effective date of the local bond resolution for the purpose for which said bonds are authorized, and the proposed maturity of said bonds will exceed 5 years. Fourth, determining that the said bonds and other bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of said bonds and the renewal of said bonds anticipated notes shall be general obligations of the village and pledging to their payment the faith and credit of the village. Fifth, delegating to the village treasurer the powers and duties as to issuance of said bonds and any bond anticipation note issued in anticipation of said bonds or renewal thereof. Six, determining that the bond resolution is subject to permissive referendum. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee DeSalvo. May I have roll call?
Trustee Howard,
Aye.
trustee DeSalvo,
Aye.
trustee Ramus,
I have one quick question. I don't see the names of the streets that we were gonna do in here. Does that have to be in this?
no.
So we can do any streets?
I think we passed out a list at last meeting.
I don't know what that means, any streets. What does
Well,
that
I asked if,
mean? The answer is no, they're not in there.
which means we can do any streets or just the ones that we specified?
Well, Jim, for 6 months, I've been asking for streets and haven't received, wait a minute, I'm answering your question, and haven't received one from you. At the last meeting, for probably the 10th time, we actually named all the streets. And so, actually, I do have those, you want me to read them to you?
Well, actually, Mr. Mayor, I did respond to you, so please
I don't have
do not say I did not respond.
I don't have it, so I don't think that
did
you
give you a
do.
few
I'm not gonna
streets.
argue with you
I
tonight.
did give you a few streets, just don't tell falsehoods, please, that's all I'm asking. And my only question was, do the streets need to be here, and if
Oh,
not,
that
can
answer
we
was
do
no.
any?
That answer was no. Do
And
you want me to read the streets to you, for which you did not, and I'm not gonna go back and forth with you anymore. Okay, I don't have, this, I never got anything from you.
Mr. Mayor, we discussed this in
Okay.
detail many days.
There's a motion on the floor, I have a second, I have a roll call vote.
We're
But,
up to trustee Ramus.
Aye.
Aye. Mayor Benoit.
aye, thank you so much, motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is to approve a recommendation from Fire Chief Eric Smith to approve Courtney Mentions as a member of the Humboldt Falls Fire Department pending a physical.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is a request for facilities, which is really the softball field at Roe Park. You have the request in front of you, you have the dates, you have their insurance. Los Piquetes to use Roe Park softball field Sundays from noon to 7, from July 12th to October 25th.
And we have clearance that they can use the softball field?
Well, we're saying that, well, they can use it, you mean from who, Brian? I'm sorry.
County?
Well, today actually starts phase 4 tomorrow, and you can have Little League now, which I don't think we're going to this year, but
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next, we have another request from to use the same field, the softball field, from the Pine Bush Little/Senior League. One day, which is actually this Wednesday, July 8th at 6. Nick Padias brought this to me. I guess our Little League in the past years has worked with these folks for different games. Insurance is here. Their field isn't ready because of the virus. I guess they didn't, I don't know, it's not ready to be used, so they're asking can they use ours for this one game.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Ramus, seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have a recommendation from the police chief for the completion of a probation of Stephen Smedley effective April 15, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, second by trustee Ramus. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have authorization is requested for me to sign a separation agreement with a full-time police officer.
Motion.
You have this document in front of you, I believe, separation agreement and general releases. If you want to take a moment and read it.
Did the labor attorney get a chance to read this, or is this drafted by him, or Elise, or?
I didn't see it. So did Brian?
This is the labor attorney working with the nice super attorney.
Thank you. I'll move it.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the Orange and Rockland Light Pole Project, which is up at the north end with the new motel. We were informed today by our engineer that we needed to approve this to move forward. Any motions, any thoughts?
Excuse me, if you want to talk about the double poles,
Oh, yeah, if approval is given tonight for this, it won't start until I talk to Orange and Rockland about the double poles that are in town have to be removed first. If they want this, I want that. They put up new poles for one reason or another, which they have to, but they never take the old pole away.
So any resolution will be conditioned on that?
That could be part of the motion.
Yeah, I would do that.
Any thoughts? What do you want to do?
I'm okay with it, I just would like to make a note so that the public knows that it looks like the developer is paying to have these relocated. It's no,
Every dollar.
yeah, no village tax dollars, and it looks like the total is $265,000.
Yep.
So I just want that noted for the public.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, is there a second?
second.
Okay, so in the motion, it should refer that the property owner, it's at his expense, and that any double poles or issues with new poles that have been installed will be taken care of first. You second it? That's it, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, that came in, it's not on, I don't think it's on your agenda, is need a motion to read, to appropriate the amount not to exceed $1,000 to be used in law enforcement activity, to be managed by the Chief of Police and accountable to the Board of Trustees upon request.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, second by trustee Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And that's to be used for law enforcement purposes.
Only.
Did you fix-
I said, yeah. Thank you. I have, Elise brought this with her. This is about the wall on Murns Avenue, the gurgly / village wall, really. Authorizing the mayor to sign, subject to the village attorney's review and approval, which you did.
Well, I have to send it to his attorney, and he may have comments.
It's a temporary construction easement agreement. We've done this before,
For the other wall.
so may I have authorization? It has to be notarized.
So moved.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Again, Mr. Mayor, there's no exhibit A. I would hope.
Wait a minute, what was the,
I would
was
hope.
this before the vote, or, wait a minute, I don't,
Well, there will be an exhibit A, and it will be
Yeah.
a survey.
Thank you.
The
wait a minute, did we
survey
take a
that-
vote though? That's what, I'm just, then he can say what he wants.
Yeah, we did take a look.
You took a vote?
Yeah.
Okay, was it 4-0 or 3-1?
I heard no nays.
Okay. Questions on the motion which we just adopted?
Right, and it was just answered. I was just gonna ask if we were gonna get an exhibit, and I would hope that in the future we have the exhibits attached.
Next on the agenda is to approve bills and claims. We have 2 fiscal years we're dealing with for a little while. Fiscal year 2019-2020, $46,251.71. Then we have fiscal year that we're in now, our new year, 2020 to 2021, of $492,961.67. May I have a motion to pay bills?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
I wanted to second it, but I just wanted to, what was the big ticket item in there, Gina, for 2021? I thought
The
it was.
sewer plant, the
Right.
belt press project.
Right, okay.
Second?
That's being paid for with insurance funds.
Right, perfect, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Next, Elise, I'm gonna have to have you chime in on this. So, this is 8991 Center. So just to show you what we're got going here, Center Street. Can you, I'm sorry, Brian. Okay, Center Street, 8991's back here. This is the parking lot up front. Lateral comes in now, goes to 89. The lateral continues up 89's property, makes a right into 91. 89 wants to put their own lateral, which she's entitled to. But she doesn't want this any longer, she doesn't need this any longer, and she doesn't want this guy's lateral on her property. Now, you didn't do anything, what'd you do with the county?
They're back to full swing this week, so the call I put in.
This is we get every day we're dealing with this, so you know.
Right,
And
I believe from the last meeting, we were just gonna check on leak detection.
No, you were, okay. All right, so I'll get a motion in a minute that we hire that company. So we have to find out where the leak is. Is it on her property or his property? Now, even if it's on her property, she doesn't want anything to do with it.
Well, I mean, we've been thinking about this, and village, it's not really a village line, right? But because it's a water line, the village has a great deal of control over it. So A, the village can allow 89 to put in her own lateral. The village can then either tell, if you find, well, it doesn't really matter where the leak is, right? But if you find that the leak is in the line going to 91, which obviously it is, then you can force 91 to either fix the leak, or the better solution, I think, would be to put a new line in, because these are really little lines, correct? So,
Well, fixing it wouldn't take care of 89's problem with having their line, 891's line in their, on their property, right?
that's correct. So what you would want to do then is, whose property is this?
That's 91.
They're like a big driveway.
That's 91, but this parking lot,
Is that-
this parking lot, two-thirds go with this house, and the other part goes with this house. Best scenario is to get this guy to bring in a lateral from here up his parking lot and into his yard and into his house.
So my thought was, there's nothing, I mean, it's an unusual situation, so my thinking was, I would recommend that the board modify their local water law to say that when an old lateral starts leaking, provided that it's over a certain number of years old, and I think this isn't, it's an old lateral, correct? I mean, that's probably been there for a long time.
Yeah,
No?
that's what we're told, before '04.
Oh, okay, when she says old, I'm thinking old.
Yeah.
I'm thinking 100 years.
Oh, no, we know who used to own both of those houses.
And that's why we've got that situation. Well, there's less, I was gonna say, the objective would be that all old lateral lines, when they fail, must be replaced, not just fixed, because they'll just start leaking somewhere else.
I think that's not the case.
Yeah, that's not an old line.
Is there something that 91, to our codes, he needs to have his own lateral?
He needs to, if it's leaking, and it's leaking from her connection to his connection, then he should be required to fix it.
If it's wait a minute,
In
if
other
it's
words,
leaking in her yard or his yard?
Well, it's all in her yard, right?
No, it makes a hook.
If it's leaking here,
It's
easy.
here. It's not-
You can just say, put a new
exactly.
one in. But if
Exactly.
it's, but let's say it's leaking here.
I know.
The issue, though, is that if the leak is really servicing his property, then it's his problem. Logically, right? There's nothing in the law that says that, but you have a shared line. So it's a shared line, so why should 89 pay for the leak?
No, right.
Right. So,
So I guess it all depends, I guess we can continue this saga, because that's what it is, once we find out where the leak is.
now, my understanding from the last round of emails is that she's now waffling on whether or not she wants to put in a lateral
Well,
until she finds out where the leak is.
She did, but she also did fill out a permit application, which I got today, for her own water line.
Well, then, arguably, if she puts in her own water line, this gets turned off and decommissioned somehow, and now it's his water line, even though it's on her property, because what he would have in that case is an easement of necessity, because he needs that water line.
You're saying he has one, or he should have one?
He has one now. He has an easement of necessity because he needs his water line. So if the
We
village
need-
wants that water line gone and him having his own water line, you could, maybe it's not an old water line issue, it's all shared water lines need to be, if there's a leak, they need to be separated. And that could be something that you could do in your local law. So even though it's not old,
Okay. Okay, so for tonight, there's more to it. Okay.
it's very complicated. You know, there's nothing, I've not seen anything in any particular code or anything I've read on the issue of water. It basically, the idea is the village pretty much has control over its water lines and can create law to control laterals since you create the law in the first place. It says you have to pay for the laterals, so you have to maintain them.
But right now, 89 can fix 89 can replace their water line, and 91 can replace theirs.
We're telling 89 she can put her own lateral in. 91 wants nothing to do with any of this.
So that's the issue, but
Yeah,
once.
because he's gotta go a mile. He or she's gotta go a mile from where the main is.
So that's more expensive, obviously.
Yeah.
But,
So there's another question that arises also, because 89 has an easement, driveway easement on 891's property. So they would have to reroute their water line unless they get permission to go through that easement?
I'd have to look at the easement, but he wouldn't want to go through.
Through the easement, correct? You want to create that issue, correct?
He probably wouldn't. 91, if he's going to have to replace his line, he wants it on his property.
Yeah, and he owns part of that parking lot, so he doesn't need an easement.
If he puts it on his portion, he won't need an easement.
But if it's on
Why
her
wouldn't he?
portion where she has an easement, would he be allowed to do that based on it is his property?
I'd have to read the easement. It's probably just an access easement.
Okay.
Probably not.
So he could go
something.
through,
He probably could,
go through that driveway with no issues with the
but
adjoining?
he's not going to want to do that.
Well, it would be the shortest way.
Well, then he's gonna need a new tap in.
Yeah, that would be his shortest way.
I believe we'd have to do an application as well.
In other words,
What, Gene?
I believe he would have to do a permit application as well to put his own line in.
Right.
in other words, if he was to come straight like this, that's quicker or less linear feet than if he has to come on down here and then go up and around.
Well,
Because
that's an
if that portion is under an easement for his
Well-
property,
So,
You know what I
let me
mean?
just make sure, so this,
well, I'm not sure, I haven't seen it either.
this is parking lot, and it's
Correct.
basically,
Right,
2/3, 1/3.
2/3, 1/3.
so
So
that means that
right there, he could come in.
he could come in,
down here, and then he has to go up longer, or can he, because he owns this, can he just run a straight line through? That's gonna be
look,
something,
you know, what you're talking about, the difference is this little jog
Yeah,
here,
that's not much.
right? That's
well,
what
if
you're
he has to
talking
come in down here. And then
Well,
he has
what's
to
the
come
difference
around.
whether, you mean the connection to the line?
Yeah,
Right.
if he just connects straight through.
Well, she's
it would be
putting in a
quicker.
new connection.
Yeah, he'll tap the main in another
Yeah,
area.
Yeah, so I don't know what it costs to tap the main, but
He has to
He's gonna
tap,
have to tap
he has to
the
tap,
main.
they both have to
Yeah,
tap.
they both have to tap. I'm
So
just-
the only extra distance would be if he still wants it to come into the house here.
Yes, and it would be easier probably because of that's where the existing line comes out of the house. I don't want to create another problem, and if he could just run a straight line, it would be easier to trench that straight line. Unless,
Yeah, I mean, he can do that, but I don't,
Okay.
he's probably not gonna wanna deal with his neighbor on that.
With
And I
the
don't-
easement?
And I don't know what the easement says.
Okay. all right.
All right, so our first thing is to find out where the leak is. So there's an estimate here that Jack Sibley received for us from another company that was on private property looking for a break, and they did on Liberty Street. But this is $1,650 to have them come down here for a day and find where that leak is.
If the leak is actually, I mean, I guess it depends on how, but if the leak is like here, right? Anywhere along here,
He can
Well-
repair
and he
that.
Well,
has to pay
wait.
for the fixing.
Let me show you something here. This just came late today, so I didn't have a chance. This was obviously my drawing. This is the current lateral, and it goes off into her house. And then it continues along her property line and hooks her right. This is all her property. But it turns out now with this current survey, it only goes, say, it hooks into his property down here. So there's a good chance that it's on his property. You see this here? That's where it goes into 89. And there's the property line. And you see how much of it's on 91's property? I mean, it's gonna have, the break, for it to be on her property, it's gonna have to be right away. It's gonna have to be like, right there.
Can you scan me a copy of this? I'd like to have that.
Yeah.
So chances are it's his leak, and it's probably on his property.
Chances are, because of the length, yeah.
So then.
Whereas of this morning, I thought chances were it's gonna be on her property. But now this is a real survey, not a drawing.
So how many of these shared lines do you think you have in the village?
Probably more than we want.
Probably. I mean, I'm in Tuxedo and we've got 100-year-old water lines, older, and they're all over the place. So, I think if the village wishes to, my recommendation would be really modify your local law, your water law, and just say where there are shared lines, any opportunity, like instead of fixing a leak, put in, separate and put in 2 laterals.
Well, write us something up
Okay.
so we can read it.
So a leak has to happen before we're gonna address any moving of the existing water lines, correct?
Well,
For shared lines.
you, look, it's like non-conforming zoning, right? As
Mhm.
long as it's fine, it continues, but the
Yeah.
minute there's a problem, it stops.
Right.
And I think that that's,
I wanna just make sure we have it set in stone, that we're not creating something where it would say people must go in and move their lines. That's why I'm saying it has to be leaking first for it to be addressed per the local law.
yeah, and I think that's the fairest way to do it. And you could certainly rewrite your law that says, over 10 years, we're gonna make everybody replace
Everybody.
it.
That's what I was wondering.
But I don't know that you wanna necessarily do that. That's up to this board.
So is 91 just content with what it is, or?
Although his
I mean, if the leak is on the property,
water power.
He already says his pressure's down, but he's content. He's content as we know. I don't know anything different. He's never called, approached us.
Well, he won't be content if you find out the leak's on his property and you just start charging.
Well,
him.
well, he has to fix it, correct?
Yeah.
Anything from the curb stop, I was under the
No,
impression,
that's true.
right? If we turn the curb stop off and the leak stops, that means it's on his property and he has to fix it. I went through this
No,
when I had a leak on.
not in this situation.
You can't
If you
just
turn
charge
if you
somebody-
if you turn it off out in the street, it'll affect her and 91, so you won't know where the leak is.
Oh, okay.
That's
But-
why we need, otherwise I wouldn't ask to spend the money to get a leak detector here.
So, but if we find out with the leak detection, Mr. Mayor, if it is on his property, he's still obligated, I believe, per the law, to fix the leak on his property.
I
He
hope
does,
so.
he must fix the leak.
Because I understand her problem, she doesn't want to fix it.
Right.
I don't believe she should have to.
I'm sorry. In this picture, I know you draw it.
Yeah.
There's one line or 2 lines? So is this just one line that feeds her and him?
Yeah,
And this is what she wants, this is the
yeah,
new one?
yeah.
This is what she
yeah,
wants to
yeah,
do new?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, that's where I was going.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So there's one line feeding 2 houses?
That's right. Okay.
If
Right.
she, one more quick question, Mr. Mayor, please. So if she was to put her new line in, right, her new water line, and remove her T going into her house, we're gonna make the 91 move his line. I guess that's the objective here, correct?
No.
I think that that's the objective.
That's the objective, but we've
At
been
the
working on
very
this for 2
least.
months.
Okay.
At the very least, it's likely that 91 will have to fix the leak, at the very least.
Correct.
Yeah, but
And if you draft your local, if you amend your local law, then you can in fact force him to put a new line in.
And what hasn't been said tonight, it's been said other nights, other times, we're losing a tremendous amount of filtered water.
Sounds like 10,000 gallons
Yeah.
a day, is
Yeah.
it? Yeah,
So-
a lot of water.
I'm hoping that that's a reason too, that we can say this has to be fixed.
Well, absolutely, I mean, you can't, unless he wants to pay for it.
I think no matter
Well,
what, he
he's not
has to
gonna pay
fix
for
it.
it because it's not metered.
No, well, there you go then.
Yeah, I think no matter what, he has to fix it.
Oh, he has to fix it, if it's on his property.
Right.
If
Well,
it's not-
None of it's on his property.
When they
except for-
turn,
except
Well,
for a
I
little-
think,
No,
I think
no,
the mayor is
no,
saying
no.
that it's actually.
We just got a survey late today.
Oh, okay.
See this line, see this pencil here?
Yeah.
so it comes across.
It goes into his property right after the hookup to her
Okay.
house.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's a chance, as of this morning, I was saying, it's gonna be on her property, chances are. Now I'm saying chances are it's on his property. Because
So really, he's gonna have, 91's gonna have the issue, because 89 may move forward with a new line.
okay,
But Mr. Mayor, so when they come in here with the leak detection company, they're gonna turn the water off at the curb box, because they're gonna find where the leak is, when it's running, right? They're gonna turn the curb box off, and that's when they could, ensure that the leak has stopped, because there's no more water running there. They're gonna go to that same spot with the leak detector, there's gonna be no water running there, and they're gonna say, yes, this is definitely a leak. Now, if it's on his property, I went through this many years ago on my property. There was a leak coming up out of the curb box. They came up and they turned the curb box off. The leak stopped. It was coming up out of the curb box. That's where it broke, right at the curb box. It was my responsibility, which was fine. We dug it up, we put a new line in. That's what you have to do. If it was on the other side of the curb box and the water was coming up through the curb box and they turned it off and it was still leaking, then it would have been the village's responsibility. That's the only reason I'm saying that. When they turn that curb box off and the leak stops with the leak detecting company here, then it's their responsibility. And then they just have to figure out how they're gonna fix it and what side of the line it's on.
Yeah, I mean, it'll just be a lot clearer if we find out exactly where the leak is.
Correct.
Especially if we find out it's on 91's property.
And it would be so much easier. He must fix it.
Yeah, that's the point.
okay, could I have a motion to hire this leak detecting company to come in for this issue, $1,650?
Motion.
Who made it?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Ramis, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, some real quick things. The month of August at the church, right at Hudson Highlands Methodist Church, is free school supplies. So if you know of anyone that needs supplies, pencils, notebooks, crayons, all kinds of nice goodies to go back to school, just go to that church and they'll hand it out. We have a code on the books right now that speaks of election signs, political signs shall be removed within 5 days after the election or political event. Well, we had a political event called the primary, and these ugly political signs are all up and down Main Street and everywhere else. So tomorrow I will have the highway department remove them and bring them down to the highway garage, and we'll keep them for a while and then throw them away. Will you please check on the other issue with political signs for me? Okay. Everyone's so eager to put them up. They don't like taking them down,
Especially if they lose.
especially if they lose. Okay. I gave the code, chapter 108, vehicle and traffic, article 2, traffic regulations, 108-13, truck route system, which is on the books for Main Street. I did ask the chief if he needed any additional tools that maybe we could give him. Not a way straight station, I told him, or an officer going to school. 2 weeks ago, I gave that to him, no response as of today. So we'll keep asking him, and then it has to be enforced. It's on the books. Basketball court, because of the virus, it was postponed, and now the contractors, I think it was phase 2, they could go back to work, 2 or 3. And the company that was the low bidder is back to work at a school, and when they get done at the school, not our school system, another school somewhere, they'll be here. They're thinking the first week in August. Once that's done, then all our renovations to Roe Park will be done. Update on the virus. I've signed another emergency, state of emergency for the Village of Highland Falls every 30 days. This is the new one. It's up on our website. What this is important for is someday I hope to get reimbursed from FEMA for the money that we've spent for the virus, whether it's overtime, whether it's masks that I had to buy for our workers and for the community, a host of things we're keeping track of. As of 3 o'clock today, the county numbers, Orange County numbers, 3 o'clock today, cases 10,836. That's up 23 from last Thursday. Deaths, 487. Tested, 79,006. So just six people over 79,000. Out of the 79,000, the positive rate is 13.6. Just a couple more numbers that I think people need to know. Out of the 10,836 cases in Orange County that are documented, 4,722 of those are people 18 years old to 44. 18 to 44 years old, 4,722. Out of that 4,722, 85 died. Out of the 85 who died, none of the 85 had underlying issues, conditions. So if young people think they're going to escape this, actually you don't need my numbers to tell you that. All you have to do is turn on the news. And you'll see what's happening in Florida, in Carolina, in Texas, in California. That's a stunning amount
I'm surprised.
of that age group, and then 85 with no underlying conditions. The second figure I want to give you is from 45 years old to 65. 3,819. So you have over 8,000 in Orange County, 18 to 65. Grove Park has started now to be opened up. The DPW goes over every morning and sprays. They bought some special equipment and they bought some disinfectant, and they're spraying all the playground equipment. The tables under the pavilion, for which we moved some of them from under the pavilion, so they're really 6 to 8 feet apart right now. Of course, the bathrooms every day will be cleaned. They're unlocked, and then they're locked by the police department at night. DPW each day, 7 days a week, will go over and sanitize the playground. And yes, it includes overtime on Saturday and Sunday, for which goes in the virus folder to hopefully get reimbursed. This will also be done at the Center Street playground. Exact same procedure that goes on at Roe Park will go on at the Center Street playground. I mentioned the tables have been moved. There's signs coming in both entrances, top of Walnut and behind the pavilion. We have new signs that we had installed by the highway department, and it lists the rules that must be adhered to.
Will we have signage at the Center Street Park?
Yeah, we have to get a sign for there. We hung the same equipment at the Center Street playground, meaning hand sanitizer, soap, and towels, on Thursday afternoon, 2:30. Less than 12 hours later, on Friday morning, they were found on the ground smashed. Our senior center, senior citizen center, opens up tomorrow. The guys were there today, cleaned it all, and obviously we'll check every day. But I know the seniors, especially the bingo group, is very happy that it's open. Gina has requested to use some of her lunchtime to go and play bingo with the seniors. And I told her I needed her too much that she can't do that.
Do they play for money?
Do they play for money?
Maybe that's why Gina's.
I don't know what they play for. Okay, businesses, stage 4, they're opened up. You can go into the Park Restaurant, you can go into Shades, you can go into all these different restaurants. Of course, there's seating arrangements, 6 feet apart, etc., etc. Very, very slowly, they're coming back. I think people are still a little worried. But they are opened back up, and again, we have to support them the best that we all can. So I know we're all trying to do that. The pool opens up this week with special guidelines dictated to the Recreation Department by the county. This is the sign at Roe Park. It's quite a little larger than this, but it tells them all what to do. The bakery on the corner out here is now open. It had been closed for a long time because of the virus. He is now open. The last thing I want to say, and I can't go on and on about it, and I don't think there's a need to. I think we all know. My opinion, until there's a cure, the best thing we can do is wear a mask. And sometimes I forget mine. I always have one somewhere in my car or on the desk downstairs. The other day I walked over to Dunkin' Donuts and I went to open the door before even my hand, and I go, oh my God, I don't have my mask. So I had to come back and get my mask. So it's remembering. It's like these glasses, I have them all over the place, and same with a mask. But the only way we're going to prevent is, and I'm not a doctor, wear a mask and try to stay as far away as we can. Sometimes that's hard. It's not hard to wear a mask. It's not hard to wear a mask. Sometimes it's a little difficult we're used to getting close to each other when we talk. So we've got to remember. But please wear a mask. Please, please, please. Okay. Okay. Brian?
Yeah. You'll see some signs hanging up throughout the village and town about a flea market at the American Legion on the 12th. That's a Saturday. So please come and join us. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock at the center, essential workers, please come in and have a cup of coffee and a pastry on us. And on Friday at Memorial Park, we're going to have a little banner celebration. And certainly thank you to DPW for going out and hanging the banners for us.
Good.
Thank you.
Nice. Nice. So Ramus?
Yeah, so, as far as the building department, they said Chipotle's is under construction right now. Their permits were issued and they are working diligently to get that place opened up. As far as being in compliance with COVID-19 rules and regulations. Also, the Church of Latter-day Saints, the old Nichols property, has had their permits issued. I spoke with the building department this morning, he said to give me some additional information and follow up on any violations for the next meeting. So, I do have one quick question. You stated about the trucks and issuing some more fines based on our local law, but it sounded like we don't have the tools to determine the weight of the trucks. but you don't want us to get those yet?
I've asked the police chief 2 weeks ago for any additional tools that he thought may be needed. I have not received anything back.
Okay, so if we need something for weights and measure the truck, we can,
We're not going to spend the money to have a weight and measure like you do on a highway.
no, they have portable ones, so would we,
I don't know, I don't have anything in front of me.
Okay.
What's needed, the cost.
okay.
I don't want to make this a big issue, trustee Ramus. I only want to stop the trucks full of, whether they're empty or full of rock or debris from West Point coming into our main street. And believe me, once one gets stopped, whether they get a ticket or not is up to the police. But even if they don't get a ticket, believe me, I believe anyway, that driver will let them know up there, hey, be careful, okay? I gotta stop the trucks from coming down Main Street. Our infrastructure is underneath these, first of all, we have a whole new street. Infrastructure, which rumbles, is underneath, and that's what I'm trying to stop.
All right. All great points, and I believe I brought them up at the last meeting.
I'm sure you did.
So, with that being said, I know the town of Bethel does have a local law in the books, and it does talk about road use agreements, and it has haul route notification forms, so something that we could possibly use as a template here in the village to protect our streets that we just bonded $400,000 for. Any way we can keep the streets and the infrastructure below them from being damaged would be great. This law is probably around 27 pages long. So there's a lot in it that we're going to have to decipher and see what would actually work here in our village, because we're definitely a lot smaller than a town, but that still doesn't mean that we couldn't adopt something like this for our village. So at least I can send you a link to this particular one, and there are a few other ones out there. But doing my research, I felt this Town of Bethel one had a lot of the nuts and bolts that we'll need to put something together.
Why don't you circulate that to me and just copy the board, so if they have any other comments on it?
I wouldn't do a lot yet, although eventually, but I want to wait to see what recommendations come,
Okay.
which I hope come soon. I'm sure they will after tonight.
Yeah, if you could send me that one as well as the others that you've looked at.
Okay.
Just so it's at the bottom.
Sure. I know we're opening up the park for some events. New York State has a great website where you can go and find out about the New York Outdoors Are Open, Play Smart, Play Safe, Play Local. So this is just talks about your responsibilities and what you should do to avoid spreading the COVID. Again, it's the New York State website, New York State Outdoors Are Open. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Jim?
Yeah, a quick shout out to the DPW for making the community look really great before the 4th of July. Shout out to the police department. They were running around probably 4th of July. Seemed like there were fireworks probably on every street, or those sparklers, whatever's allowed by New York State law. Just want to shout out to the community. Happened to see driving around either gloves or masks on the ground. If you think you dropped yours, or try to double back, try to pick your own stuff up, because I happen to see them, on the roadways in town. So it's important to clean up after yourselves normally. So obviously with extra COVID material, if it's yours, then you drop it, try to toss it away. Shout out to the farmer's market. I did not stop this weekend, but I drove by and it looked like it was pretty busy, and that's good. It looked like they were going through their new procedure with all that's going on. So it looked pretty active. People were there shopping, and that's very well. And as the mayor said, as we enter stage 4, which I believe officially starts tomorrow, try to patronize the local businesses in town the best you can and as safe as you can. So thank you.
Okay, nobody gave a shout out to the 4th of July. So let's talk about the 4th of July. We didn't skip a beat. 52 years. And while we didn't have the parade down Main Street, what we had was a parade on every other street. It turned out to be larger than I had thought when I woke up on the 4th of July. I couldn't stop smiling at the participation. We had a town police, village police, Fort Montgomery Fire Department, Holland Falls Fire Department. We had 3 floats. Lilies of the Valleys put a float in, Fufukalu put a float in, Southgate put a float in. We had an army vehicle with the cutest little kids in it. They looked like they were 7 or 8 years old. They had every piece of gear that the military issues, sitting in the back of this military vehicle. Cute as a button. We had 2 military jeeps. We had a DJ in the back of a truck playing patriotic music. Ambulance. And a couple residents showed up in their nice little fancy cars and waving flags, and we put them in the parade. So it was quite larger than I had hoped for, and for my purposes, 52 years we've been doing a parade, and we haven't lost a year yet. I can only promise everyone, as we always do, the committee gives the community a fantastic 4th of July, sometimes 4-day event, always a 3-day event. I could promise you a spectacular 4th of July next year after we get out of this health crisis that we're in. So to the residents who participated in the parade, gave up hours of their day, for the community who came out and waved flags and clapped and said thank you. Thank you to us, we were thanking them. I just thank everyone. I've said it many times, this is the best community on the face of the earth, and nothing has changed my mind, nothing probably ever will. So, with that said, I would like to go into executive session on personnel and contracts. Motion, please. Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee DeSalvo, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you so much.